Well, Israel has named some of the journalists, or said that some of the journalists that it's killed belong to Hamas. The proof of that hasn't been put in a public forum for complete scrutiny. And part of the scrutiny that a journalist like me would want to probe those kind of allegations is to be there on the ground and talk to people on the ground. So Israel's allegations, are hard to prove or disprove. Certainly, many of the journalists, friends, other journalists, of those journalists who have been killed would dispute what Israel has said. And there certainly does appear to be situations where groups of journalists have gone in, and there have been cases, or at least one case that springs to mind over the past month or so, where a group of journalists went to report on one strike, and then Israel had a follow-on strike. This is not uncommon in war to have follow-on strikes, but the result of it was very clear that the journalists and recovery workers who'd gone there in the immediate aftermath of the first strike were again targeted. Look, we're seeing this also in the Ukraine conflict. Russia is now putting drones up over areas where rescue and recovery workers and local reporters are going into the scene of strikes. The drones there have the effect of denying Ukrainian rescue and recovery workers of doing their job, of restoring power, and all these sorts of critical functions. So again, these types of sort of second strikes are not uncommon in war, but it's increasingly the case that journalists will be caught up in those strikes. But I think when it comes to the allegations that journalists that Israel has made, that journalists were members of proscribed organizations like Hamas, is a very frustrating one for journalists stuck on the outside who would like to, do due diligence, and follow up on those allegations, and report the findings. That's a frustration. If Israel makes those allegations, then perhaps it could provide the ability for reporters to test their claims, and that's just not possible right now.